Today we're talking with Sugar Hill Stewart, nephew of famed legendary trainer Emanuel Stewart. Sugar Hill is also currently training the heavyweight, lineal, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury. They're preparing for their clash with Deontay Wilder. We're going to speak with him about that and the fact that they had to stop the Anthony Joshua fight or postpone it to fight Wilder. Let's get into it. Sugar Hill Stewart, the man who made Tyson Fury a beast. Welcome to the champ and the chump.
And who's the chump?
You.
Me. Welcome to our show, people. All day.
There he is.
How about that?
There you go. Just a little update and you're good to go.
See?
What's up with the sexy vest on, bro? How you call that?
It's a robe, man.
Yeah.
My robe, man, lounging.
Must be nice. God dog. I'm still in the middle of my work day.
You still working?
Yeah, it's only 6 o'clock. It's bright as heck in California.
Where you at, Suge?
I'm in Florida.
Florida, okay. So we were talking about...
I had to think about it for a minute. Shit.
I know. So we were talking about the name Sugar Hill. Can you explain where that name came from?
From the group, right? Don't lie. It's from the group.
I got that from when me and Tarek Salamas used to spar. He gave me that name.
Oh, really?
Did he really? Or are you fucking with us?
No.
And
no, I got the name. My grandmother gave me that name. My grandmother named me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And your real name's Javon, right?
Nope, Sugar Hill.
Oh, okay. Apologies.
Check.
Apologies. Yep. And then, so you used to be a Detroit cop, is that true?
Yeah, but let's keep that on the low.
Keep it on the low, though? Okay.
Hey, one time, me and Tarek went to a club in Detroit, and we got pinched by some cops in Detroit. They were
pinched for what?
They didn't do nothing. Walking down the street, and then they're like, "Hey, stupid, come here!" Like, and Tarek looked over because it said stupid. He's like, what? And then I forget what happened, man. And then I was like, dude, I don't even know. I'm not even from there. I'm from LA. Well, you should know how to get beat down, whatever it is. I'm like, oh,
that's funny.
So how? I can tell you what, it wasn't me then. I didn't roll like that.
So how you feeling about this third fight?
Nothing really. Honestly, nothing. Not being funny, but just nothing because from what I know, Tyson Fury signed his contract, Deontay Wilder signed his contract, but there's been no public announcement yet, like no real public announcement, no press conference or something. So that's when I start saying something or feeling something, when it's a press conference, because
right.
So many times in boxing, things change. So once we get something official, once I get something official, which I call official as a press conference or a press release, then I'm ready and I'm talking.
Well, man, I want to say, much respect, because you turned that man into a killer. Man, when he adopted your style, he looked like I don't think there's no heavyweights out there coming close to Tyson Fury now.
Well, you saying that, now what they gonna do? You done messed it up.
Because, I think a lot of us, when they announced the third fight, I think most of us were like, great, you already whooped him twice. Now we gotta just wait for the fight that everybody really wants to see, which is Joshua.
I got a question real quick. Why is my screen keep getting dim and stuff? Is that something in my settings or something?
Yeah,
it's not getting dim to us.
Mine is.
Yours keep going. Yeah, you gotta keep touching it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Are we jabbing? Is that what that is? Supposed to be like a jab?
By the time the thing's over, I've been jab this state for 100 times. Hey, man, I had a good question. It just you lost it when you threw me off.
Was it about the Fury Wilder thing or what?
No, it was shit. I don't know. It'll come back to me in a second.
It'll come back. Yeah, I was telling Jeremy, which I think for some reason that last Wilder fight brought on so much bullshit controversy, which anybody who knows boxing shouldn't pay it any mind. you know what I mean, with the gloves being tampered and all this bullshit. And I feel like, did that frustrate you at all? Or you just didn't pay any mind?
No, I'm an easygoing guy, so it doesn't bother me that much. It didn't bother me. Um, I mean, yeah, I've thought about it in a positive way, a negative way, but it didn't really do too much to me like that. It actually just keeps the fight being talked about.
Mm.
So that's a good thing. I have to just take things and make it into a positive. So may not like what they say, but hey, it is what it is. I can't control anybody on what they say or how they feel about it. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. So for me, my opinion is being talked about still, because of all that. So maybe had it just been no talk about it, we wouldn't be talking about it as much.
So yeah, what is the biggest little change that you have to make on to get him to be able to perform like he?
That right there,
I mean,
slap the shit out of him. Jump up and just slap, or stand on top of, stand on the ring and jump down and slap him.
yeah, it's my good friend, my business mentor. They were on a plane together the other day, and they took a picture. And my friend, like 6'1", 6'2", and he took a picture with Wilder. I'm sorry, with Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury was head and shoulders taller than him. I was like, God damn! And he had
Yeah, he's every bit of 6'9".
oh my.
Yeah, that's a big, big boy, man. That's a big boy. So if you had your choice, would you prefer that he fought Joshua or Wilder, or do you have somebody else that you'd prefer to fight for him to fight, or it doesn't matter to you?
Well, I don't know. Goes back to what you said in the beginning. It doesn't matter who he fights for me. My job, I don't get too much into all that stuff. They put him up, they put him in front of him. Then my job is to train him to beat whoever is in front of him. So I don't really care. I'm not like, oh, I don't want that fight because of that. No, I don't care. And Tyson doesn't care either. It's all about challenges. He wants to be challenged. I like to be challenged too, for training him and teaching him. I want to be challenged to make him better, than whoever is in front of him. That's what makes it fun for me and also for him.
Where did your training skills come from? Like, from my store or a bunch of different people? Like, what put you in that position to learn those skills that would make to be able to differentiate one fighter from another?
I just see a lot of it came from Emmanuel. So yeah, that was like my father. That's who I grew up around, and as my positive male role model in my life. And that's what I looked up to, as a male figure. I just remember those times being young, and they would say, like your uncle. And yeah, so I was the only boy in the family and it was just, the rest was girls. So yeah, I was looking up to him and everything that he did and watching him carefully. I picked up other skills from being a police officer, going away to college, living in Detroit, just living and being able to travel, just a lot of things just from life experience, just paying attention and always watching and learning. So, it's a combination of everything. But as far as just total boxing, yeah, it was Emmanuel. But as far as teaching different styles, I was a class clown in school. So I remember the teacher getting on me about messing up and disrupting the class and things like that. So I was always watching the teachers, just watching like how they taught and what do they mean by certain things. And of course, as I got older, I understand, look, don't be messing up the classroom, disturbing people, because when I'm training, I don't want nobody bothering me. If they bother me, I'm ignoring them. So I won't say nothing to them at all, period, until the round is over. Maybe if I ain't teaching when it's a break time.
Okay. Are you at the Crunk gym or you have your own?
Crunk for life.
Oh, Crunk basement. Huh?
The basement, yeah.
Did you
basement attitude, yeah.
Did you ever have any of your own fights, amateur or pro?
I had 10 amateur fights. That was it.
Okay. Yeah, you. I mean, I was looking. You were training Adonis Stevenson, right? Basically for the last 8 years of his career.
Yeah, Superman. Yeah.
That boy he could fight, man, and I'm glad, very thankful that he ended up, being able to make it through that injury. Obviously everybody is, but he was. So speaking of him, so of all the fighters you trained, besides Tyson Fury, which one would you say was the easiest to teach? Or including, okay.
I mean, they both right up there. Adonis was easy to teach, to mold him. He was 100% in to what I had to teach, and Tyson was too. So I really can't like say, oh, one was better than the other. They both picked up and was absorbing it like a sponge. I would say the only real difference with Tyson Fury is he was already like a made man, like champion in his own style, and to just take that and just throw it away and then start over from a new slate was something different for me being involved in versus Adonis. That would be the biggest difference, that he just took everything and threw it away and said, okay, what you want me to do, I'm gonna jab like this, I'm gonna move like this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and that's it. So yeah, quite the same, but a little bit different.
I mean, was or is Tyson easy to train, or is he just? I mean, is he like does he flow? Like I don't. He's a white dude.
Hey.
A good slap to teach anybody.
Yeah, dude, you're like, I don't know what, 180
Nah, I'm just joking. I don't be slapping them guys. Only when we're in the ring. I do hit them in the ring though when we're doing pads, because when I do pads, it's like I put myself in the position of his opponent.
Okay.
So yeah, if I see an opportunity, yeah. I mean, growing up boxing, come on, like coach slapped you, yeah, they did. If your hands was down, pow, take that.
I know all of that. That for us is common, but you know, for our audience, some people don't know that, you know, like what happens in the ring, in the gym is completely different, but the same than what happens in the ring.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to think that I do things a little bit different because I don't like being like everybody else anyway. But for training, I mean, a lot of times I just make up stuff, like just whatever works for that person. Everybody is different.
Sure.
So for his attitude, his personality, I have to say and do things different. For somebody else, I got to work according, you know, to how they feel and how they perceive things and how they respond to things. So it's not really just one way. I just have to pay attention to that fighter. Every fighter is different, so I have to pay attention to every single fighter. Yeah, like a psychologist, or you know, it's a lot to it. It's not so. I don't want to sit there and say that easy, but I feel it's easy because I guess I pay attention to it. But deep down, I know it's really not that easy because so many people they have problems with it, and they'll say it. Some people admit it. They say, "Man, I don't know how you had the patience for it." I don't even feel like I'm being patient. I don't feel like there's a need for patience because I'm trying to teach somebody, and I want them to learn it. So I have to be able to. I understand, I guess, to try to find a different way. So I don't think of it as being like, oh, I wish they would hurry up and learn it. It's just for me trying to figure out what can I do and say to make that person learn it.
Well, let me ask you, how much of your training would you say is getting them right up here, and how much of it is fixing physical things?
I think if you get them here, that take care of everything else. We all know the mind is the strongest thing, so whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. Oh, that was from my grandmother's stuff. I done heard growing up so many times.
How was it working around and with Emanuel Stewart, the legend?
It's his uncle.
I mean, that was everything for me, being with my uncle. So yeah, I feel like I've watched him like nobody else has. There's been around him. There's been, you know, other coaches and stuff like that. I feel like I just watched him differently than they did because of how I looked up to him and what he meant to me versus other people who Emanuel was just, you know, a trainer. I want to learn from him versus me as like a father. And yeah, that's who I look up to in a much bigger way.
Were you with him at a lot of the fights, you know, when he was training Lewis and all those guys years ago? Were you there, like, just kind of apprenticing and just soaking it all in?
Yeah, I wish. No, it was other trainers. It was other trainers there, and that in a, like, not in a bad way, but that made me mad that I wasn't there. So it made me work harder to prove that I'm better and that I want to be there. So I mean, I had a job. I couldn't just go. So that's really what it was. But yeah, I wanted to be there, but I had a job. I couldn't just get up and go. And when I did, I mean, yeah, I had a good chance of getting in trouble when I got back.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But at the same time, see, I had a strong amateur team, so I couldn't just leave all my amateurs to go with him. I had a team. My team was hot, like in every division. We had on my amateur team that they had, we had like Aaron Williams, national. Everybody was national champions. Aaron Williams, Jonathan Banks,
Mhm.
Andre Durrell, Anthony Durrell, Lorenzo Reynolds. Part of that team, Mickey Bay, Cortez Bay, Juan McPherson, James Lester Jr., Wes Ferguson, Octavio Lara, Miguel Gonzalez, Mark Day. All these guys was on. It's not, you can't just leave these guys around. I
How
mean, we got tournaments and stuff to go to. So me going to those training camps really didn't fit into my schedule because I had the amateur team.
right?
There's a lot of big first names in that group.
Yeah.
I'm
And
How,
I'm forgetting some, but I mean,
sure you
that
are.
was just in that group and era, like that time for that 2004 Olympic team, like those years, those were like the hot names. Like,
Do a lot of the Kronk or Detroit fighters ascend to the Olympic team, or do they go straight to professional boxing because Kronk is so strong in Detroit?
so most, I mean, we try to go to the Olympics. I mean, that's like an amateur boxer is one of his goals, like winning the
Right.
national championship at college basketball. But I mean, you try to go to the Olympics, but it doesn't always work out. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is what you do after that, because there's been Olympic champions and fighters who never won world championships and went on to be great at the same time. It all pans out what you do when you go pro.
mm,
That
how,
I would, I would.
Mike Tyson didn't win the Olympics either, but the guys that went who beat him and went, what
yep.
did they do compared to what did he do?
Exactly.
I'm
How
just
was,
saying, I'm a good friend of Oba Cars, and Oba was a phenomenal fighter.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my
Uh,
era.
he stepped past the Olympics and went straight to pro. I think like 18 years old.
Mm,
Yeah, but see, and a lot of we never really got into it and tried to push so hard. If you remember 1984, most of that team was training at Crump. That was Pernell Whitaker, Stevie McCoy, Thomas Tate. No, Frank Tate, the Biggs, all them guys, man. They was training in Detroit at Crump, and they was boxing with all world champions. So they had a great chance, and that's why they had a great team. Mark Breland, all those guys were there. So Emmanuel was training most of those guys, but
Yeah,
he wasn't the coach to go to the Olympics.
yeah,
So that wasn't really a big thing, just because there's a lot of politics involved in that.
huge.
And he wasn't even able to be around those guys during the Olympics in '84. Like, be in the locker room, and they was like, no, because you're not. So yeah, it's kind of messed up. But I think that really, it bothered him because he told me about it. So he said, don't worry about the Olympics and stuff. It's about what your guys do when they turn pro.
mm.
He said I had the whole Olympic team pretty much, but they wouldn't let me be involved.
How
That's
was
just the truth.
how was training Aaron Pryor Jr.?
Aaron Pryor Jr. He was green, like he hadn't
Mm,
boxed with little or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, compared to his father I'm being funny, 4'6", and Aaron being 6'4", the total opposite.
he was 6'4". He is 6'4".
Yeah, Aaron's 6'4",
Damn,
Yeah.
and his father, a little bitty guy, but
a little dude.
yeah, it's a different styles. So, teaching him to be a tall fighter, fight long, and shutting up his punch, it was a challenge. I enjoyed every bit of it. Good buddy of mine. He stayed and lived up in Detroit with us as well. So
Mm,
that was all brought on because of Emmanuel and Aaron Pryor's relationship. Even though in the amateurs, Aaron Pryor was beating up all the Crunk fighters.
Yeah. Well, the relationship between you and Fury. I mean, how long have you been working with him, and what does that look like when you're in
That's top secret, man. I can't be telling you.
the? I got
You looking at me rolling your eyes.
$8. Give it. I'll text it.
You've been with him only since the last Wilder fight, right?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, because Tyson first came to America to train with Emmanuel in 2010,
Uh-huh.
and that's when I met him then. And he walks into the gym. I'm doing pad work, and there's a guy at the front door, and they're like, "Yeah, can we help you?" And the guy Tyson says, "Yeah, I'm here to see Emmanuel. I'm the next heavyweight champ of the world." And then they hollered and told me like, "Hey, Sugar Hill, man, this is a guy coming into the gym talking about he the next heavyweight champion of the world. I turn and I just look and I just see Tyson. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah. Because I'm in the ring working. I don't like nobody bothering me. And I
Uh-huh.
just kind of like, whatever. The round was over. I spoke to him. You know, he told me who he was and stuff. So I was like, all right, well, you here. Man, you're not here, but change, you know, you can change and start getting ready to, you know, train if you want to. So he trained for a little bit. Emmanuel knew he was there. And then Emmanuel sent somebody to pick him up. So we spent 3 weeks in Detroit training together.
Wow.
And then right after that, we went into a Vladimir Klitschko camp. So that was 8 weeks.
Wow.
Man,
So pretty much we had 3 months together back then, you know, and that built our we had a great relationship then, and it's still the same right now.
let me tell you, I enjoyed every second of the fight.
Stop. How was his work with Klitschko? Did he work with Klitschko?
Nope. They
What?
never worked. They never worked together.
They had different gym times, the whole shit, huh?
No, we was in the gym all at the same time, but they never worked together.
Really?
Nah.
I mean, well, he's a completely different fighter now than he was a couple of years ago. So I mean, with the Klitschko's, are they done fighting?
You say, are they done fighting?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're done.
I know Vitaly, he's in Kiev, I think the mayor over there in politics, and Vladimir, yeah, I haven't heard anything about him training or anything like that.
So, was it easy to get? Is this something Tyson wanted to do to kind of stop moving around and kind of sit down and come forward, or was that something you had to convince him into doing?
No, that was my idea to sit down and go forward. He just wanted to win the fight, and then, you know, we talked about it, and I told him, I said, listen, because he felt, you know, he feels that he won that first fight, and I was just like, listen, you feel you won the first fight, but you didn't. You got to draw. Let's stop talking about that. You got knocked down twice. You can't sit there and just say definitely you won. I said, but you can definitely say you won if you do this, this, and this, and you go out there and knock him out. Now you know you won. And all he said was, he was just like, yeah. He's like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And that was it.
Because doesn't that you know, for people watching, doesn't it psychologically make a huge difference when the fighter now is just going forward, not moving?
No, I mean, it can and it can't. It just depends on how they train. Ray Robinson was a mover. He was knocking them out too.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it all comes down to techniques, really. I mean, if you know the technique, how to do it, then it doesn't even matter whether you're going forward or backwards.
Yeah.
Very true. Very.
Yeah. So, who are you looking to fight after Wilder? It's definitely going to be Joshua, or you guys aren't even thinking that far ahead yet?
Doesn't really matter. I mean, we think that far ahead. We just sit around talking like, yeah, bring everybody. Bring all the top guys. Whoever the top guys are, whoever. We were just talking today. He wants all undefeated fighters. He don't even want to fight nobody anymore. Like, give me all the undefeated fighters because that's more challenging.
It's
They
smart.
got something to fight. They got something more to fight for in a sense because they trying to protect their record. Bring on all the best guys.
How old is Fury?
32, 33.
Oh, so good years in him.
Who of all the fighters that, you know, I know this is kind of, you probably hear this question a lot, but of all the fighters that you've trained, who had the most pop, pound for pound?
Say that again. Who? What?
Of all the fighters that you've trained, who had the hardest punch, pound for pound?
Of course, I would have to say Adonis Stevenson.
That boy could punch, huh?
Okay, he was cracking, and he was just naturally like strong like that. You know, just naturally strong. Before I started training, he was already, you know, knocking a lot of people out. But it just learning how to do it even better, like not just kind of like by accident, but knowing how to set these things up and you know, position your opponent into things that's what made it, you know, a lot better and a lot easier for him, and which made him you know, be as exciting as he was.
So, kind of off the topic, but who do you have for the Pacquiao versus Spence fight? How do you see that going?
I that's a good question. So I haven't really thought about it so much. I just found out they're supposed to fight, but it's gonna always be a tough fight with Pacquiao. I can't just count Manny Pacquiao out as much as I enjoy watching Errol Spence fight. Um, you know, it's totally up to strategy is how I feel. I mean, Pacquiao's been around, total experience in package, and Errol Spence is same way, just a newer total package. So it's an up in the air fight, man. It just depends on who's going to execute their game plan and who's going to make the best adjustments. Being in there at that time, I just see it as an exciting fight.
Yeah.
I don't weigh one way or another. Like I said, whoever's going to follow that game plan is going to win that fight.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Between the fighters that you've trained, pound for pound, whatever, which one of those had the most snap on that punch?
I just asked that.
No, you didn't.
I feel like I did. Sugar Hill, didn't I just ask that?
It was kind of going. Say it again. It was going in and out. I'll answer it again. I don't care.
Okay, go for it.
So, as far pound for pound, who had who can bring it the best?
I would have to say bringing it the best and all that. As much as Adonis was the harder hitter, what the question was, but pound for pound, who could bring it the best, I would just have to say Tyson.
Really?
Tyson could turn southpaw, right-handed. I mean, yeah, he had so many more obstacles that I'm looking at it. So many more obstacles in his career fighting versus Adonis. Big cut. He had to fight through that, and he had to adjust. He had to make big adjustments and changes in that Wilder fight to win that fight. Because I had Wilder, he was winning that fight, and Tyson just pulled it out in the last few rounds to take control.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to just make so many adjustments, to do that.
What makes Deontay Wilder so good?
That damn right hand he got.
The right hand.
The way that right hand he got, and the way he explodes and always finds a way to hit somebody with it.
Yeah.
That shit is dangerous. They don't call him the bomb squad for nothing.
Yeah.
When it goes off, it's like a bomb.
But he's 6'7", 6'8", whatever, 220 pounds. How's he getting that much torque?
Yeah.
Technique. Mark Breeden was a little skinny thing.
Oh yeah, I know that. Mark could crack too, but I'm asking these questions as if I don't know, but I know because. But I want to get our audience involved with.
It all comes down to techniques. So you can have a strong guy. He's strong, and we call them heavy-handed. He's heavy-handed.
Right.
And then you got somebody that's got a good technique, and they cracking. It don't look like much, but they knocking people out. It's really technique. I don't have a long drawn out answer for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just that technique. You learn that technique it's going to enhance that punch a whole lot more than just a strong guy that's heavy-handed that's knocking people out.
Yeah, so I would say George Foreman, heavy-handed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, snappy.
Yep, snappy. Tyson was snappy.
Yeah.
Who do you think is a better fighter or more of a challenge for Tyson between Wilder and Joshua?
I'm going to give you Tyson's answer himself. But I think Wilder is going to always be the harder fight because he is so explosive and unpredictable. Like you don't know if he's going to throw that. That man, he covers so much ground so quick.
Right.
I mean, it's dangerous. Like you just blink for 1 second, and all of a sudden he's closed the gap on you. You ain't got time to react, and you got hit with that punch. It's over.
So you find Wilder being a little more dangerous than Joshua?
Definitely.
Huh. Because I feel like Joshua has more technical ability. He's more of a rounded fighter. You know what I mean? Than just the right hand.
And more predictable.
Okay.
If like David Tua was his left hook or something, like was that one shot? Mike Tyson got a left hook or something, but so is it Deontay Wilder's got just that right hand, or has he got snap and everything?
just the right hand, pretty much.
Okay.
And that right hand is more dangerous because it's coming from A to B. A hook got to come around like in a way. The
Mm-hmm.
straightest, the quickest way to get to something is a straight line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are, are there any other fighters in the heavyweight division that you see as a possible real tough challenge? Anybody up and coming? Anybody there now?
Uh, and to be honest, I don't even watch boxing like that.
No. Okay.
I like golf.
Well,
I watch golf. So yeah, I don't really know. I don't Tyson when he watches and studies the heavyweight division, I don't even study it like that. I just wait for the next opponent. I watch some guys is interesting. I was watching the Joe Joyces and those guys, Du Bois, and I was looking at those guys and I mean those I guess were the talks of who's supposed to be the next heavyweight coming up and things
Mm-hmm.
like that and I don't see it in those guys actually. I do know one heavyweight that I do like watching the fight and that's Jared Anderson.
I don't know who that is. Is that
He's
bad?
from Toledo. Uh, Outstanding amateur boxer. He's with Top Rank, but he was in camp with us and he's very tricky. That was the best work that Tyson had, and we loved him in camp because it was the most challenging.
Are there any are there any guys Tyson sparred with that you've seen that stands out, like some well-known fighters where the sparring got real heated or real good?
the guy you just said.
Besides that,
Jared Anderson was a good fighter. Um, there was another fellow in the training camp named David Adderley, and he just fought overseas. But it's you know I like these fighters, and there's a lot of talent out there. And this is just my belief and what I've learned from Emmanuel. There's a lot of talent out there, but if these fighters are not taught properly, we're not talking about training, we're talking about teaching. Or we're not talking about coaching, we're talking about teaching. If they're not taught properly, they won't excel to be who they could be. And there's so many fighters out here now that are champions. They make it to be world champions on their own without being taught properly. And
right?
that's amazing. It's amazing that they get that far in this sport without being taught properly. But these guys just have to be developed properly. Day-to-day training, they have to learn some new things. Maybe they're not fighting the guy that comes forward, but they need to start practicing on that before they even start to have a fight like that. So you have to be able to, develop these fighters and make them well-rounded before they even get to those challenges. Because there's no need to start training for it now because you got to fight somebody like that.
Mm.
And that's what I just feel is lacking. So there is a lot of talent out here. I don't watch it so much just because of that, because I'm not seeing, the techniques and them being taught properly and executing how they control the ring. It doesn't excite me that much, to watch it. But I
Yeah.
do watch some of these guys if I see like this natural, and I'm like, man, like he's doing this all on his own, and I shouldn't maybe say that on his own, but it pretty much is sometimes.
Yeah,
And that's just the truth of it.
these guys who ain't never fought before, and they pretty good on the mitts, and they training people. The mitt man, he ain't never fought before, so he can't see the dangers that you see, that I see, that Marco sees, or that fighters see in the process of the fight. Not saying it's impossible, hard for them to recognize what's going on, completely going on, because not all fighters, not all fighters be trainers, but we got so many people now acting like trainers, holding the mitts all super fancy and all that bullshit. But really, that's bullshit. Because get in the ring and get somebody out of deep water and keep them from drowning and pull the fight off. That's, to me, is a trainer. Not all this other shit, all this fancy fucking mitt work. I could give a care less about that.
Yeah, it looks fancy and it looks fancy and entertaining. And I mean, when I look at it myself, I'm in awe. I don't understand it myself.
Yeah.
I tried to get power like that myself, and I was just like so confused, like because I'm just thinking to myself, like, well, I don't know when am I going to do that in the fight? Exactly that. Like, so it's for me. I just don't think it's situational. I like to teach situational boxing, which things that happen in certain situations. How do you respond? How do you react? Things like that, which make you definitely able to adapt in the ring and to perform better.
Yeah, that's the way I was taught as well, where you're taught a data, you know, i.e. deep water, getting deep water, you got to get out of it. How you going to do it? X, Y, and Z. Let's do it. Not by doing this pad shit. And the guys who make their living doing that, do it, but please don't jump in the ring act like you can, because you can't. You know?
I read somewhere, Sugar Hill, that you were thinking of retiring not too long ago. Is that true?
I did retire.
You did, but you're back.
It happens.
What?
I retired after Tyson and Wilder fight.
Why?
It just felt so good. I was like, what else? Like, what else to do? And honestly, we're older guys, so there was a thing out years ago where somebody wins something big, and what do they always say? What are you gonna do after you just won the Super Bowl? They said Disney World. Well, I wasn't going to Disney World. They didn't ask me to say that, so I wasn't gonna say it. So I just said, that win, that was such a big win. It was like, you know what? Kick your heels up, sit back on the chair, sit back on the porch, have a little drink, a little lemonade or something, whatever, and just watch the sunset and retire. That's how I felt after that when they asked me that, because it was right after the fight. So I was like, shh.
I still don't understand why that fight, more so than a lot of fights in recent history, produced so many excuses from people and so much like bullshit controversy, and it's crazy to me. Why do you think that fight specifically produced so much of that when it was such a clear ass whooping?
I have no idea. I have no idea, honestly. That's just they didn't like it. They expected Tyson to get knocked out because he got knocked down twice in the first fight. They didn't expect Tyson to come out there and do what he did. So to not believe any of that and be surprised, something had to be wrong.
Shit. Well, I think Jeremy needs to get out of here. Man, we appreciate you giving us your time. We appreciate talking to you. Let's do it again after.
No, I'm just warming up, man. Look, I'm just cool. Because I'm looking at my battery. I'm like, man, it just said low, what does it say? Low battery or something?
I'd like to talk to you again after Fury gets the same outcome in the third fight.
I would like to talk to Tyson Fury if you can set that up for us.
That'd be cool too. Either way.
Okay, well, let's set all that up. Let's work that into our schedules.
That'd be good. Mark, touch with you. Hey, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate it.
We like your robe.
Oh, thank you.
It's okay.
Looking sexy.
This is my Miami Dolphin blue or Miami Dolphin green color since I'm in Florida.
You deserve it, man.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on our time, man.
Thanks,
All
man.
right, thanks for inviting me.
All right. Take care.
All right.